This is a really interesting question. So I did a whole video breaking down how Dolby Atmos works and how it's been used in film for years and years, and now it's being used commercially in your headphones. If you have AirPods, you can turn your head. If you're listening to a Dolby Atmos mix and the vocals right here, you turn your head, it's going to stay there in that space. Super cool technology. I love it. There's that whole video on my page. You can see how audio engineers like myself will work in that format. But this is really interesting because you could pull that off in the right theater and it would be an incredible immersive experience. But of course, there's a catch. If you're in a physical space, not just listening on headphones, the shape of the room is everything. When we're mixing for this format as audio engineers, we're working with like the movie theater setup kind of room, a big rectangle where you're sitting as the listener right in the middle, and there's speakers all around you above and below. And we'll play sounds in that rectangle. And even if you're a little further to the left or you're sitting a little further back to the right, you'll still get the sense of where everything's ending up in that room where it's intended to be. And of course, if you're listening on headphones, it doesn't matter. You're sitting right in the perfect listening spot in that like theoretical rectangular room that it's been mixed in. Introduce a concert venue, particularly musical theater venues, opera venues, these older buildings that are beautiful and historic, but would introduce a lot of problems if you're trying to do an immersive mix that actually would connect with the audience because these old buildings, A, are all very different, but a lot of times they're not really set up in that traditional movie theater format. There are balconies. You're probably a little bit further from that like ideal center point that it's been mixed for. Oftentimes they're wider than they are long, which also causes issues. So it's one of those where if you had the right theater for it that was designed for it, you could have an incredible immersive experience as a live theater show, a live opera, whatever it may be. But as long as we keep using these beautiful, iconic playhouses, which I think we should do, right? That's what they were built for. I don't think that immersive mixes are going to necessarily become the mainstream that you're going to see with every, show, like live show in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if there are dedicated venues built like the Sphere in Vegas, if that were to, be outfitted for something like Dolby Atmos. But I think that would be a very specific theater going experience that you would go to intentionally for that. If you like geeking out about music, audio engineering, or the like, drop a follow. There's a lot more where that came from.